Having covered, in a brief way, the birth of Satan, it is time to examine a subject less mythological and much more phenomenological: the principalities and powers, the lords of darkness, the demons themselves. Except for the veneer that individual religions place over it, the concept of demons is nearly the same now as it was in ancient Mesopotamia. The fundamental definition of a demon, without theological baggage, is a non-human entity of great intelligence and power, existing as mind and spirit, and capable of influencing the material world. I'll say that again. The fundamental definition of a demon, without theological baggage, is a non-human entity of great intelligence and power, existing as mind and spirit, and capable of influencing the material world. To someone raised Muslim or Christian, this definition will seem much too broad. However, for the magician, both now and in the past, the operational attitude toward demons has more to do with the classical past than the Christian present. In ancient times, and during the first centuries AD, when the Corpus Hermeticum was written, all demons, good and bad, were considered as a single class. If a demon was hostile or evil, it was referred to as a kakodemon. The angels of the biblical mythology hadn't been integrated into the mainstream yet, and simply came to replace the demons as the principal supernatural beings that interacted with man. The political motivation for this, as with so much of the Christian structure, is obvious. Christianity created the myth of the soul-stealing demon to quash magical practice outside the church. Even in the grimoires written in the Judeo-Christian tradition, one can see a scrap of the old attitude remaining. For example, in the Goetia, several of the princes of hell are described as good by nature, or well-disposed to the exorcist. In the traditional worldview, the universe is filled with intelligence. This intelligence manifests itself on all levels of nature, from animals, of which man is the highest, to spirits or pure mind, of which gods are the highest, and to which the elementals and the demons of the air are the closest to man. Prejudice and terminology mean it is difficult to write about demonology without sounding incoherent or foolish. Our prejudice, created by culture and the common usage of modern language, asserts that demon is synonymous with evil being. As we have pointed out, this is a historically only a recent notion. But it is one that we have to live with, so let's deal with both problems, the prejudice and the terminology, by making some comparisons. According to classical Hermeticism, nearly any spirit of superior intelligence and power, likely to appear at a conjuration, would be classed as a demon. This excludes spirits of the dead, elementals, demigods, which is an unclear category, and gods. Once again, we turn to voodoo as one of the few pristine examples of this attitude still in existence. In Haiti, the spirits dealt with are called Loa. In Latin American Santeria and Macumba, they are referred to as Orisha, after the Yoruba tradition. Both these terms are usually translated as gods, and when white European types read about voodoo, they think they are reading about the worship of these gods. In fact, the relationship to these beings is far different than what white Christian culture is accustomed to. There is direct communication and interaction. Possession is an integral part of the practice and not considered in the least sinister. What is more, the spirits are not quite omniscient or omnipotent, even in their own fields. They need things from us, and as a result, deals are struck. From the point of view of voodoo or macumba, the creator god is so big and so far distant that he has no contact with man. But other beings, the Loa, who are pure mind, but also part of the world of nature, are not only willing to interact with man, but need him for their own development and well-being. There are many of them, and they are divided into families. For example, there are a number of different Erzulis. Erzuli, Erzuli Dantor, Erzuli Gerouge, Erzuli Petro, and so forth. These are not aspects of a single divinity, but individual personalities given titles or names related to their powers and place in nature. This same sort of division occurs with the other classes of Loa, so that far from having a pantheon of a dozen or so gods, as the Romans did at the beginning, they deal with an entire population of spirits that resemble the crowded ranks of the medieval demonologies. For the good Christian, this is a sign of primitive superstition. After all, he would say, monotheism makes more sense, doesn't it? Some academics see monotheism as a higher form of evolution simply because it appears to have followed polytheism temporally. A noted exception to this prejudice is Dr. James Hillman, the noted Jungian analyst. Our culture has been gradually separated over a period of centuries from the direct individual experience of the supernatural. The average middle-class Christian believes in one God because he is told to, no other reason. This is accomplished through repetition of what constitutes good belief through childhood and ridicule or defamation of bad belief as an adult. Those people are crackpots. Those people sacrifice babies. Much of this is called tradition. The voodooist, on the other hand, believes that he experiences is true. It may be in a traditional framework that our culture may not accept, but the experience is what is important. Such a person believes in spirits because he has spoken to one and been spoken to in return, and has seen the spirits perform miracles, not because he has to believe in this way to be a good boy. The Church rightly finds this an enormous threat, hence the unrelenting campaign of extermination and libel that it has waged for almost 2 millennia. This also explains the Church's inability to compete with voodoo either in Haiti or Brazil, hard as it has tried.